Are you against animal abuse?
Yes, I am.
So what makes you say that? Why are you against animal abuse, and what is animal abuse to you?
Well, simply to me, animal abuse is just cruel. An example for pets: when you have a pet, you should give them attention, love, and care. Um, I think there's different types of animal abuse that people would have. Very controversial. Some people go vegan for that reason. Some people have pets. Some people don't. Some people adopt pets. To me, it's just in general cruelty towards animals and just wrong. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I like that you mentioned some people go vegan.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you know about veganism? Have you considered it?
Yeah. I've done a lot of information. I'm in college, so there's a lot of information about medical topics, health, dietary. I'm taking diet class now, so there's a lot of different types of classes. There's
They talk about it in the
yeah,
University for Diet now. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. It really is great. I'm glad there's so much awareness on it. Helps with
I can edit, so you can walk past.
yeah. So
You're good.
thank you.
If you're interested in what we're talking about,
You stick around. Oh, that's yours. I saw
yeah.
that in a tree.
The first two links are the most important. Thanks. Yeah, I've been putting them around because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
They're nice little finds and very informative. I like how you're going with the QR code.
Thanks.
That's the new trend. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm really glad that it's getting a lot more awareness and education in universities. Um, Not only is it good price wise and health wise, but it saves not just the industry but also emotionally. People feel more connected and like even in spiritual sense, they're like without all that meat, um, they're able to focus more on things that are easily grown with like grains, nuts, and
And we would have to grow food to feed the animals anyway.
that's right.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like we're using more
That's
resources.
right. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, I believe in any diet, typically, like for a normal diet, cutting back on the meat is typically good. They say about once a week, a small little cup of pint of red meat is about healthy. Once again, there's a lot of different diets.
are you aware that veganism extends past diet? So, like wearing leather for
Mm-hmm.
using animals as commodities, because then
Mm-hmm.
we would have to use them to take something from them,
That's
breed them
right.
into existence, create a profit out of them. Animal testing, things like that
Mm-hmm.
are all, yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be expanded more than just diet. For It's really easy for abuse to happen when the animals are kind of like the test subjects, especially like in animal testing for medicine, clothing when they're slaughtered for all that, and just in general how people view animals as more of like a thing that is kind of below you, and it should be by your side.
Yeah. And the industries. Like, have you seen any of the exploitation?
I've seen a lot of farms with a lot of animals. They look kind of overcrowded most of the time. I believe how people slaughter the animals for the food we have, I think it's come away from a lot more cruel methods. I know that some use a steak, right? So that way it's like instantly. I believe if those properly work, that's a lot better than,
Oh, the
you
bolt
know.
gun. That's
Mm-hmm.
meant to stun them, not kill them.
Oh, okay. Well, other than that,
It's hard to think of a
it
nice way to
is.
kill
It is.
someone, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like imagine if it was you. If you're interested in what we're talking about, the first two links are the most important. I urge you to check it out. You're welcome. So yeah, now that we are in a position where we know that it's healthier for us, it's better for the environment, we don't have to slit anyone's throat, shoot anyone in the head,
Right.
then what is the justification for doing so?
Come a long way, not just in how the economy's changed, but also information being spread, coming together as a community and more as a nation. I think veganism has spread in a positive way, in a positive light, that more people should know about the lasting effects rather than just a stereotype, and more so how they can be part of it in small ways that doesn't require them changing a lot about themselves, because people are very scared of
Yes.
change. And
Yes.
so even there's foods like a lot of mushrooms tofu that could be used as protein instead of meats. So
Plant-based versions, they're everywhere now. There's like
True.
multiple forms of it in every Aldi's. I'm like,
Right.
nice. It makes me so happy to see. Burger King, Taco Bell.
Right, yeah.
There's no excuse anymore. It used to be where like processed food became like the easy, quick thing for everybody, and then you had to eat like whole food, plant-based if you wanted to be vegan.
For a lot of the stuff in the past, when it was coming to terms that, oh, this is healthier, so the market charged more.
Oh
And
yeah,
now
like the
I'm
new
seeing-
plant-based meats, yeah.
Right, and now I'm seeing that like it costs less, which is great.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more efficient. It's so much more healthier than eating out all the greasy restaurants. To cook a meal full of ingredients that you know what's in there, and you're able to track it for your own health. And speaking of restaurants, I'm glad to see that a lot of restaurants like Burger King are implementing fake meat, veganized meat
Yeah.
that are
Alternatives to what you're used to. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's like so many different options of milk compared to the one like cow's milk.
right. Typically, it's a lot better for you too. As humans, as we grow up, we become lactose intolerant, and that's not just
Yeah.
like the abnormal. That's the normal. That's how our bodies are supposed to grow.
I heard that you said you haven't seen much footage. Would you be interested in looking at a little bit of footage? I brought my
of course.
Awesome. So this is the dairy industry, and that's the calf that was just born, because cows have to be impregnated in order for them to give milk, and they have to take the calf away in order to get the milk, so that the calf doesn't take the milk,
Gotcha. Okay. It's a great way to implement learning and connection, especially when you're able to go back in post and you're able to show the footage you're showing me.
Yes.
So that way you can see the in-time
Multiple.
reaction and what we're talking about to the audience as well.
Yeah, so the mother was just chasing after the baby calf, and they will do that every time, no matter where it is, inside or outside, and they will both like mourn for each other and scream for each other for like days, weeks, and then that's the baby boys getting killed,
Right.
because they're
both.
not viable for the dairy industry,
Gotcha. Okay.
because they don't produce milk. So they'll either be sold for veal, or not a lot of people eat veal because of the cruelty, but they don't understand that it's all cruelty.
Right.
And then so they just kill them and throw them away. Like there's dumpsters full of them.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Animal activists who's risk their life to get this footage because they don't want people to get this footage.
Right.
And this one's trying to crawl over the other one and get away. They can smell the blood. They know what's about to happen. They're very intelligent. They just can't talk our language,
Yeah. Intelligent, but pretty helpless when all of this is set up against them.
And when I was like watching this stuff, I started to think about like back when I was a kid and I learned how to like fish, and how in my head I'm like, is this okay? Like it's you know what I mean? I remember like seeing the fish in pain, and it's like, oh, we have to eat. And then I seen everybody else was like laughing and having fun, and they didn't think twice about it. So I didn't even ask any questions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I just was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You just get over it. you
Yeah.
know?
Typically when fishing, we use, well, I personally, because I don't like, when you fish with hooks, it's easy for them to get stuck and tear the insides of the fish, and it just kills them. So when you use hookless baits and lures, it's really nice, especially when park rangers set limits to how many you can catch, or if you just catch and then release again.
Right. But I mean, like, if you were that fish, like, you wouldn't want that to happen to
Right.
you. And if we don't have to, what's the point? Right here, they're artificially inseminating the piglets. So they were getting the semen from that pig, and now they're impregnating the sow. Because if we didn't forcefully impregnate them, I think I might have already explained this, there wouldn't be enough for the demand.
Right.
And then they can't even turn around. The mothers, they usually crush the babies. A lot of them are born stillborn because of their health when they're giving the babies. They give so many litters constantly. It's not good for their body. They're, you know,
Yeah.
overfed. So yeah, this is standard industry practice. This is how 90% of our the meat is produced for our society. So yeah. It's about 200 animals that every vegan doesn't cause to be abused.
Yeah, wow, that's a great impact.
I think you just missed it. They hit the piglets on the ground And so,
Really?
like, we don't, yeah, because the ones that are runts, they're not viable for the
Right.
industry, so they just kill them by hitting them on the ground and throwing them in dumpsters. They have to cut their teeth off and their tails off, no anesthetics or anything. They do this right after they're born, when they are getting ready to go into the holding pens to become mothers themselves. If they weren't clipped in the tails and the teeth, they would eat each other's tails and stuff.
Right.
And then they would like get infections and die, and so it wouldn't be profitable for the industry. So
And industry is all about profit, you know.
Mhm.
It should more be about health and, you know, making sure that it's affordable and producible.
sustainable.
Right, and that's why it should switch more to plants, because, you know, you grow them in large quantities, and they're much better for not just us, but also the ecosystems.
Yeah, it's 91% of deforestation is caused by animal agriculture, feeding, and cows in particular. But these pigs, they're being lowered into gas chambers, the same gas chambers that we had in the Holocaust for World War II. And what it does is it burns you from the inside out. It's so painful that they'll rip their own feet off in between those bars because they don't know what to do with themselves. They can't control themselves. They're in so much pain and agony. And this is how they're killed, because it's the fastest way to kill them. They don't have to have workers, you know, the industrial bars will push them into it, and it does multiple at a time, so that's why they do it. So I keep hearing you say things like lowering our consumption of meat, but if you were like the one animal being sacrificed, or it would really still be hundreds of billions of them.
Of course. Once again, people dislike a lot of change.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
true.
older people, younger people, because firm beliefs are firm when they're taught, like religion. It's ingrained in their memory because they believe it to be so right that
Kind of like
there's no
racism
other
and
way.
sexism and stuff that
That's
we've
right.
had in the past. That's why it took 400 years
That's
for
right.
us to abolish slavery, even though that we had the means to abolish it.
Right.
And the same with like women's rights. And that was another thing that I thought about when I was watching this, because I myself has been through a lot of sexual abuse.
That's right.
So I felt like a victim growing up most of my life, wondering how could somebody do this to me. Whole time I had like thousands of victims behind me that I never even
That's right.
thought of or knew. Because when we're young, we're taught you need dairy for calcium, you need meat for protein. And it was actually the dairy industry that created the campaign Got Milk, if you remember that in school with the posters. So they're paying the public schools that need money in order to sell their product,
Right.
to create lifelong customers.
Right.
It's obviously a lie, or else I wouldn't be standing here.
That's true. That's true. And I'm glad that you are standing here and voicing all your thoughts, opinions, and beliefs very strongly. Continue to stand strong. I apologize that you've gone through all that you've gone through.
Thank you.
But I see that it makes you a better person, a stronger person, and someone who can influence a lot more people. So keep going. And this is very educational, very informative. I'll hold this for you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for showing with me and allowing me to also voice my opinions. And yeah, over time, we all stand together and we all get better through it, but we got to keep pushing it consistently so that way it grows and doesn't regress.
Exactly. So many people who are passionate about it, and like every person who is this passionate about it, like we change multiple people, and the same thing with every like movement. Like it starts out slow, but the truth is going to be set free. We have the technology to reach the world, and this is a worldwide movement. So, and imagine being taught up that you can't even hurt an animal. There would be a lot less like harm towards each other.
That's right.
Too, I believe.
That's right.
So
No, you're absolutely right. I think lowering and stopping the violence towards one thing also limits the violence towards all things. It's just good morals and good beliefs, and honestly, you have a good campaign going for yourself, and you're very strong with how you speak, and you have a lot of facts to back you up, and you know, just make sure your voice doesn't waver in the future when you face criticism or negativity. You know,
I appreciate that so much.
Of course.
I want to do speeches. And we go out, and like sometimes there's like 20 of us out there, reaching like 100 people in a night.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And some people cry and go vegan on the spot.
Right.
Like it's sad, but like we like when that happens, because
it's such a strong response that you know that you're really getting your voice across, and that reaction just shows that they come to terms with the reality here.
Well, I think that you would you would be a great person to stand up for the animals if you do
course.
decide to align your actions with your morals and not support animal abuse anymore. It's delicious, it's easy, it's way more convenient than it ever has been in the past, and I believe that you could do it easily.
Of course. We all have to stand together, not just a couple strong people, not just the 1%. We all got to stand together so that way we first live our lives following this example, and then we project onto others better morals and beliefs.
This is a really touching scene. I want to make sure you don't miss it. I was listening though for sure, and I love that. Yeah, I remember this scene in Dominion because this is like a cut without the sound, and that cow is like screaming, like, yeah, they know what's gonna happen. They know what's going to be taken away from them. They're not dumb. But yeah, the egg industry is just as bad as well. But yeah, I think that's enough. But the worst footage, the like all of it, if you want to like be really educated about it, the first link on here is Dominion the documentary. The second link is a speech by Earthling Ed. He's like the largest leader in the animal rights movement right now. It used to be Gary Yourofsky. He's burnt out. Yeah, there's Challenge 22. That's the last link on there if you're interested in if you need help. I don't think you will though. Need help.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's my Instagram and YouTube's on there too.
Okay,
so
cool.
I really appreciate that it touched you. So do you think that you'll go vegan after this?
Of course, yeah. I'll definitely rethink my dietary choices and make sure it's all squared away with not just myself in mind, but also everything else. It's very important to be self-aware of your impacts and what you do for others and to yourself.
For sure. Thank you so much. What was your name again?
My name is Jonathan.
Okay.
And thank you, Paige.
It was nice meeting you.
For coming in and educating me about this.